The Dereham Road cycle track provides a largely segregated off-road route between Longwater Lane and Gurney Road and completes a missing link in the cycle route along Dereham Road. Although the initial plans for the route were poor, we were able to work with Norfolk County Council, resulting in a significantly improved scheme. So we're at the start of the route. We're leaving the existing cycle track on Dereham Road. There's this cut through they've created here. On the right here you'll see the new Beryl Bay. There's a drop curb, we've just come down there. When they originally installed it, it had a really steep curb on it, which was very dangerous for people turning in because you're cutting in at an angle. We did ask them to replace this or to fix the problem, which they did, so we were pleased about that. So this road here, we're on the road, but it is a very quiet road. It's effectively just an access road for the houses here. It's a 20-mile-an-hour limit, so it's reasonably okay to cycle on. Coming up, there'll be where the road turns to the left. Originally, the priority was to cars turning to the left, which created a danger for cyclists because we're going straight ahead here. We did ask them to change the priority, which they did. So now cars turning out of this junction will now have to give way to cyclists. So it's much, much safer for people cycling. So we're now crossing the entrance. You'll see the give-way markings on the left. We're now entering a short cul-de-sac section of the route, and then we join a shared use section of path. You'll see there's a big oak tree on the left, which I think they were originally going to remove, which so this does create a bit of a pinch point there. We're now on this shared use section of path. This was originally supposed to be segregated, but for some reason it's shared use. On the right you'll see the light controlled crossing that links up to Mayfly Way. We're now coming up to Richmond Road, which is the first of the cycle priority crossings. This one here is actually set back from the road. We're now joining the first bit of the segregated section. So this is reasonably good here. It's a curb separated section and it's reasonably wide. Bus stop bypass, they've done that reasonably well. We would have liked to see different colour tarmac here to really differentiate between what's the pavement and what's the cycleway. You still see some people walking on the cycleway, and it would have been better if they'd made that perfectly clear. We're coming up to one of the other cycle priority crossings. You'll see I'm slowing down and I'm having a good look around. These aren't as well designed as we would have liked them to be, and we have noticed that probably the compliance from drivers is probably only about 50%, which isn't really very good. So although they are technically cycle priority, you really do have to kind of keep a good look around when you cross them. So here's coming up to one of the other crossings. It's worth pointing out the markings are a little bit eccentric. The way they've marked them, you can see here, it doesn't look quite right. They've got the elephant's feet markings on top of the give-way markings, which is not correct. They haven't really done those very well. I think Norfolk County Council aren't really that experienced in actually marking cycle priority crossings, so it's been a bit of an issue. Coming up here to another shared use section. You'll see on the right there's some control boxes. They were originally supposed to be removed so that there could be a fully segregated section there, but it proved too costly for them to do so. So we've got a shared use section there. Here we are onto one of the narrowest parts of the segregated path. It's only probably about 2.5 metres here, but this is still pretty good. I think it's far better that it is a segregated section rather than they could have made it shared use. We're coming up to the second of the bus stop bypasses. Again, they've done these reasonably well. Some of the detailing could have been a bit better. The curbs are a bit of a sharp angle. And again, if this was a different colour tarmac, say it was red for the cycle path, it would be much clearer for everyone involved. Coming up to another one of the cycle priority crossings. Now, these roads are actually quite busy, which is really a kind of fundamental flaw in the design. On the right you'll see a raised table crossing. That's over to the travel hub and the crossing of Dereham Road. Another cul-de-sac section here we have to cross over. It's a cul-de-sac, so it's pretty quiet, but that crossing there really isn't particularly intuitive. It could be better marked. We're now onto the section where there's the houses set back from the road. This probably is the widest part of the path here. The footway is entirely separate. There's a large wide grass verge separating the footway from the cycleway. There was originally a row of immature trees along here, which is why you'll see coming up in a moment there's a pinch point. In the end, they did in fact cut the trees down because they needed to access the cable or something. So we did say, well, can you not put the pinch point in? But they insisted on putting the pinch point in for some reason. So we've got a little bit of a pinch point, which is a bit of a shame. You'll see it coming up, I think, about here. Yes, you can see the pinch point there. We're now coming up to the lay-by section. Now this was supposed to be a curb-separated bi-directional two-way cycle track. Instead, what we've got is some painted cycle symbols on the ground and some wands, and the lay-by remains effectively as it was. So this really effectively is a gap in the cycle route. You're cycling through parked cars. So we're now on to the final bit of the route. This is shared use, and again it was supposed to be segregated, and we're coming up to the crossing of Gurney Road and the end of the route. So again, this is quite a busy road. A lot of cars do turn in and out of here, so you really have to watch out. And then this is the end of the route where there's a dropped curb, and as you'll see, this is quite dangerous. I mean, you really have to watch out when you turn into the road. You see there's a cyclist coming along, but obviously there can be buses and taxis using the bus lane. So effectively, you really have to stop here before you pull out into the road.